Hi everyone, Dr. Remy from Pain Free and Fit and Posturesize. Today we're going to be going over how to use RPI exercises to help with your spondylolisthesis. This video is a direct result of our subscriber Sim Salami, who asked, how do I de-twist my body with my hip going up and forward on the right and my left shoulder going up and to the left to decrease the stress on my lower back. Hope you enjoy. So RPI stands for Reverse Posture Isometric, and it's a key component of the pain-free and fit healing exercises as well as all of the posture-size exercises. With spondylolisthesis, many times there are global problems in posture and body mechanics that are stressing that vertebra that has slid forward in the case of an anterolisthesis or forward slippage of a spondylolisthesis. These global changes include hip hiking, where one hip has a tendency to come up more than another, turning of the hip or the leg bone out, called external rotation, and pronation of the foot, which drives that hip to come up and compress that side of the spine and overstretch the other side of the spine. Torso rotations, where the thorax or the rib cage is slightly twisted to one side in relation to the pelvis. Sometimes we have lateral flexion or side tilting disturbances, where because of postural habits, typical daily activities, we lean a little bit to one side more than another. Sleeping positions, our muscles and soft tissues tighten on one side. That creates compression on one side of the spine, irritating the facet joints, the disc on that side, sacroiliac joints. It overstretches the soft tissues on the other. So many people with spondylolisthesis fail to realize that if they're doing any type of corrective exercise or working out trying to help with abdominals especially, to train the back of the arch of the spine to be decreased by tightening the abdominal muscles, unless you're using your unique RPI for your body, many times you're strengthening your abdominals to actually hold yourself in that position. Because if your habit is during the day that you typically turn to one side or sit with one hip up across your legs, those soft tissues have undergone a process known as creep, which means that the load that's been applied to them has been applied for so long that the actual fibers change. The water content in the soft tissues has been pushed out in the case of compression, has been drawn in the case of overtension. Proteoglycans and materials in our soft tissues actually change. The fibers can actually create adhesions that make them stick together. All these problems cause a permanent deformation where it's very hard then to unleash the tightness or the distortion in your body. And most of us have some type of postural issue. Most of us are not perfectly straight, the side tilting of the head, one shoulder comes up or forward, because we all use our bodies more asymmetrically than symmetrically in life. So when applying this to spondylolisthesis, we want to include RPI corrections in all of our exercises. If we're doing abdominals and we're not taking into account the fact that one hip comes up higher or the rib cage twists to one side, as we do our crunches, as we do our planks, as we do our stir the pots, as we do our hanging leg raises, we're going to go to our natural strength, which is to bring that hip up, to turn that torso that way. And that's going to create more asymmetrical muscle force on the spine that actually creates more disturbance in our forces that are applied to the spondylolisthesis and actually more pain. So you think you're actually strengthening your body's ability to stay away from pain, but in fact you're actually strengthening the dysfunctional state of the body. So as our subscriber Sim Salamia had written in, the problem with this particular subscriber's body is that the right hip moves forward and up, and they're looking for exercises to correct that, as well as a compensatory left shoulder that moves forward and up. Again, there are many reasons why that hip could be. If you have a pronated foot, we need orthotics and foot exercises to address that. If you have a tendency to have your leg turn out on that side, which drives the hip up, we need exercises to rotate that leg in. You could lay on your back or stand and do repetitions of rotating the thigh in. Hip realignment squats, where you put that foot slightly back and in and squat down while you maintain that right hip that usually comes up in a anti-hip hike or down position, will help to train the hip joint to stay in a more neutral or straight ahead position, which will stop the insult of the continual repetitions of that hip coming up during the day. Standing anti-hip hike exercises where we stand and we lengthen our ribs up and our hip down to increase the strength of the glute medius that's weak in these cases and increase the strength of our muscles on the other side of our ribs and abdominals to hold the rib cage and the pelvis together are essential also. Doing those every other day, 3 times a week for increasing repetitions starts to give you the strength to rebalance your body out to prevent that hip from coming up and forward. In the case of a shoulder, we may have a shoulder that comes up due to the fact that the rib cage is leaning down on that side. So those exercises I just mentioned will actually help to straighten that shoulder out. If we have a local problem in that shoulder due to, let's say, a shrugging tendency where we sit and we type, or we're working on our computers or laptops and we have a tendency to raise one shoulder up when we drive, that tendency is corrected by creating shoulder depression, where we push that shoulder down. And that could be against no resistance at all, simply pushing it down, or against working with a resistance band for more pressure, pushing that shoulder down, straight elbow. We could do it on a chair where we're hanging off the edge of a chair or bench, where we sit into a seated shoulder depressor exercise, letting the body hang, and then pushing straight up. If our shoulder is forward, we need work to bring our shoulder blade back. We could use bands to do a reverse fly, emphasizing the shoulder that's typically forward, bringing that back more. If we have a pelvis that's twisted to one side, in the case of our subscriber's question, the pelvis was forward on the right side. We need exercises to bring that back. That was another video we shared a while back where we have a simple standing hip rotation exercise where the pelvis is getting used to twisting. And if the torso is used to twisting the opposite way, we want to then increase the torso going the opposite way. We can use that against resistance bands as well as time goes on. So we're having some resistance to those muscles working. If you notice with all of these movements, what I'm doing is I'm simply using the reverse posture or mirror image, the opposite direction of what I find. However, this is all based on a unique analysis of your body. If you don't do an analysis from the feet up, we don't know what's causing that hip to come up. If we don't do an analysis of the shoulder and the neck and the rib cage, we don't know why that shoulder is up. So if you haven't yet done so, I invite you to go to either the Pain Free and Fit or Posture Size websites where we have a free body analysis. Take an analysis on your body, learn what your unique postural distortions are, and then start working RPI exercises to reverse the distortions from the feet all the way through the head, which will over time reset the soft tissues and help to allow the energy to come in that's been lost. Hysteresis is a biomechanical phenomenon and principle where we're going to, through exercise, restore the energy needed, and the soft tissue components will help to stretch and reorganize the body, breaking up adhesions, restoring proteoglycans and water content in the unique areas that they need to be. So over time, we can actually reform the body, the fascia, the muscles, the ligaments, the facet capsules, the disc fibers. They all are subject to the strains of our normal asymmetrical postures and stresses, and they all can be revamped or improved or brought back more towards normal through corrective exercise that's targeted for you as a unique individual. I hope this exercise video helps you with your spondylolisthesis. Remember, if you'd like to help me share this valuable information with others, give me a thumbs up below. If you have questions or comments, please give them to me. They plant the seeds for our next videos on our channel here. Interested in more exercises for your spondylolisthesis? We have a great new program, the Fast Track Healing Exercise Program for Spondylolisthesis, that takes you through specific analysis, stretches, pain relief exercises, and strengthening conditioning exercises to help stimulate your body's healing stimulus for spondylolisthesis. That's available on the Pain Free and Fit website. Keep in mind these RPI exercises. They'll do you a lot of good with your spondylolisthesis.